the iCafe Studio. Today we're going to take a look at how to create a OneNote notebook. The first thing you need to do is go to the Start menu. So I'm going to choose Start, then I'm going to select All Programs, and then I'm going to look for Microsoft Office 2013. When I choose Microsoft Office 2013, it expands and shows me all the different programs that are available. I'm going to choose OneNote 2013. When I open OneNote for the very first time, I'm going to get prompted with a message that looks like this. It's asking me to connect my notebook to the cloud. For time being, I'm just going to go ahead and say, choose that X and close that window. Right now what it's doing is basically telling me that I can later set my notebooks to sync to the cloud, and we will look specifically at doing that later on. And then OneNote is going to launch and open on my screen. Now if you're taking a look at my OneNote, you will see on the left hand side that I have some notebooks that are already open. I want to create a new notebook here. So to create a new notebook, I'm going to go to the File menu. I'm going to select File, and I'm going to choose the option labeled New. When I select New, the first thing it's going to ask me is where do I actually want my notebook to be stored. Inside the district, I have several places of actually where I can choose to store my notebook. I could choose to store it locally on the computer, which means I would only be able to access that notebook on this specific computer. In this case, I want to be able to access my notebooks anywhere, anytime, on any device, so I'm not going to choose the computer. I also have another option that says, do I want to sync it to my SkyDrive? Now here they're looking at your SkyDrive consumer account. This is a separate account that Microsoft offers to all consumers to be able to use for storage. Inside the district, we have a special place where you are able to store your notebooks, and it's actually your SkyDrive Pro account, which is part of your Office 365 account. So initially we need to set up that place. So we're going to choose Add a Place. And when I select Add a Place, it asks me where do I want to add this place to. The first option shows a little SharePoint icon, and it says Office 365 SharePoint. I'm going to select that location. When I do, it asks me to put in my email address. Here's where you're going to enter your LCISD email. So I'm going to enter my LCISD email here in this box and say Next. And then it's going to prompt me to put my password in. Again, this is your LCISD password that you use to log onto the computer. So I'm going to enter my password here and click Sign In. When I do, it is actually accessing my SkyDrive Pro account, which is part of my Office 365 account. And when it's added, now I have a new spot up here that's called Lamar Consolidated ISD. So I'm going to choose to store my notebook in that location. And it says, actually, where do you want to store it inside your LCISD location? I'm going to go ahead and choose to store it into my Robin Rivnet's SkyDrive at Lamar Consolidated ISD Documents location. If you do not see this location automatically pop up for yourself when you're storing this, if you do not see your name and SkyDrive here, then you have not actually activated your SkyDrive Pro account inside the district. You might want to refer to the video called Activating Your SkyDrive Pro account. I'm going to select to store it there, and when I do, it takes me up to my SkyDrive Pro, my Documents folder, and I have several folders that I've already created in my SkyDrive Pro account. For me, I like to store all of my OneNote notebooks in one location, so I have already created a folder called OneNote Notebooks. If you just want to store it in your generic Documents folder, then you can just choose to name it here and create it in that location. So for time being, I will just store this one in my Documents location. So I'm going to entitle this one, we'll go ahead and title it iCafe Studio. And that is the name of my notebook, and then I will click Create. After the notebook's been created, it prompts me with this message that asks me if I'd like to share my notebook with other people. At this time, I'm going to choose Not Now because I don't want anyone else accessing the notebook at the time. And my notebook is then created. So now here on the left-hand side, if you look, you'll see that I now have a notebook called iCafe Studio, and the notebook is blank. There's one section that it starts off and gives me as default and gives me to one page inside my notebook. So that's essentially it. That's how you create a new notebook for the very first time. if you have any other questions, you're going to want to continue to look at how we use OneNote in other ways and look at some of the other training videos. Thank you for your time and have a great afternoon. I'm Robin Rivnetz coming to you from the iCafe studio.